During this time he was constantly supplied with every good thing, an abundance of money, fabulous jewels, fine clothes, and a whole century of leisure hours in which to teach and train his disciples for the present age. Virtually every disciple who is working with Saint Germain now was called into embodiment during that century to prepare for the present incarnation. It is these disciples who will be able to restore and again anchor the precipitation process on the physical earth plane. Back in the early Lemurian days, before the laggards came, and before the world fell into its present state of atheistic materialism, human greed was unknown. In those days, men had never heard of such a preposterous thing as earning a living by the sweat of one's brow. In fact, they were totally unacquainted with sweat. They enjoyed a perfect climate. They did not live in huts or hovels. They lived in the most exquisite surroundings amid an endless, globe-encircling garden of trees and grass and flowers, prepared under the direction of Amaryllis herself, the goddess of spring. When a family group sat down to dine, the family head, the father, presided at the communion ceremony, for that is what it was. The group prepared to eat the body of God's substance, to drink of the elixir of his circulating energies. In a degraded manner, the communion service practiced by churchianity today is an attempt to produce this ancient Lemurian custom of precipitation. The Lemurian family group, their minds held steady in the light of universal light, joined in the thanksgiving and acceptance ceremony for that which they were about to receive. Instantaneous precipitation followed, with the table bedecked with the finest linens, silver and dishes, and laden with an abundance of food and drink, which met the exact nutritive requirements of that particular family. At the close of the meal, the mother performed the next necessary ceremony of etherization, or returning to universal supply all unused food and drink and all table accessories. This is the key step in the precipitation process. If the etherization process is not performed in love and faith and confidence, then the ability to precipitate further supply is withdrawn. In other words, as children of God, we are entitled to as much of his abundance as we can use to serve life constructively. If we precipitate food, then we are not privileged to toss the leftovers into the garbage can or store them in the refrigerator. They must be returned to the universal storehouse where the molecules are broken up and the atoms freed for use elsewhere. The depths of depravity reached by the human race can easily be estimated by our one great product, waste. Only earth people are so arrogant as to speak of waste matter, let alone produce it. There is no waste in the universe. The Father not only knows when the sparrow falls, he also keeps a strict account of each atom, for an atom is a tiny life. The only way to handle so-called waste is to permit it to be returned to the individual storehouse. The storehouse is a reservoir of unqualified electronic substance. In that case, it is ready for use by anyone who wishes to qualify it. In recent years, the space people have pointed out again and again that it is our excessive waste matter from nuclear fission and fusion that constitutes the greatest threat to our destruction. The bomb explosions are much less harmful than the resulting fallout, and the fallout is even less destructive than the waste accumulated during the manufacturing process. During the last quarter of a century, Ascended Master Saint Germain has been working actively among his disciples, particularly those in the United States, because North America is now the physical beating heart of the world, and as such it requires the most subtle protection. Without the full functioning of North, Central, and South America, the 6th and 7th root races could not come into existence. The divine plan could not continue its unfoldment according to universal law. Inasmuch as the ancient karmic fiat, which man brought upon himself, to earn one's bread by the sweat of one's brow, was active under planetary law, it was automatically set aside in recent years when the earth came under cosmic law. As soon as the knowledge of this liberating change penetrates the consciousness of the people, and they can accept the fact that they are free from the curse of drudgery, then they will desire to draw forth free rays, energy, to accomplish all things. Therefore, it is obvious that during the Aquarian cycle, every person will be required to study the process of precipitation and etherization. Recently, the 7 Elohim, the builders of this planet, have come forth with a dedicated book which outlines precise instructions for precipitation. This volume now serves as a textbook for disciples who are studying the process. See suggested reading section. And when I get to that, I'll find out what book that is. The suggested reading section is at the end of this. From time to time, Saint Germain lowers the vibration of his subtle body so that he may be seen visually, and mingles with groups of disciples. In the United States, in recent years, he has given actual demonstrations of the precipitation of food, complete with exquisite linen, silver, and dishes. He has even made an exception in many cases and retained the linen, silver, and dishes in manifestation, presenting them to his dinner guest. It is noteworthy that the linens need never be laundered, as no effects of soil cling to them. While the linens appear to be of cloth and apparently are precipitated as cloth, they are probably charged with fourth-ray energies and, therefore, vibrate at such a high frequency that imperfect matter is cast off. This is the ray of purity, which Serapis Bey has urged us to use for such practical matters as cleaning our homes, tuning pianos, and tuning up motors. It is apparently the ray which is used by space people who visit the Earth and who can walk through dusty deserts, muddy roads, and under rainy skies, and yet appear at the homes of Earth people without a trace of soil on their clothing or shoes. Several contacts have observed and commented on this feat. Although no hint has been given that Tesla and Ascended Master Saint Germain actually met and conferred on the physical plane, there is abundant evidence to indicate that they were in close communication. Nearly all adepts from Noah down to Saint Germain and Tesla have been associated with angelic messengers, who take embodiment as white doves. This is a subject which is difficult for the earth mind to understand because we know so little about the angelic kingdom. Angels themselves sometimes take human embodiment in order to perform some special service, but little is known nowadays about these cases. However, we can gain considerable knowledge from the story of Mary, the mother of Jesus. See suggested reading section. She not only belonged to the angelic kingdom, but was originally an archai, or twin flame, of Archangel Raphael. She also spent untold centuries in working with the Elohim, assisting in the training of elementals. The Elohim design and build planets, but like all good architects and contractors, they have an army of helpers. These are the little elementals or nature spirits. According to the design made by the Elohim, the little elementals carefully fashion each blade of grass, each flower, each tree, and even each tiny lima bean or apple or orange that we eat. When we say that the little elementals build the fruit and flowers, we mean precisely that. They build out of the substance of their own bodies, just as a spider spins a web. After the ascension of Jesus, while Mary was living with the disciples at the old gristmill outside Bethany, she spent considerable time training groups of little elementals. She taught them how to make a certain type of fern, among other things, a fern which we still have in abundance today, commonly called maiden's hair. And I've had that. I'm going to stop here. I've had that maiden hair plant. It's really hard to keep it alive because it has to have moisture a lot.